Hello everyone, good morning. I'm sharing my screen. Yes, I'm working on the payroll PPTs and they're not ready yet. So probably we'll be starting off with a payroll module in a couple of days. And meanwhile, we've got two more technical skills left off to be covered as part of the training course. We'll go through them. We'll cover one topic today and we'll cover HCM extracts today and user interface customizations with the help of Sandbox tomorrow. And after that, we'll get started with the payroll module. And if you look at this HCM extracts, remember we have, when it comes to reporting or when you have to extract data from HCM module, you've got three options available. Right? So when you have to extract data from a HCM, you can do it using multiple options. You can build a BIP report to extract the information, and you can build an OTBI report to do that. And the third option that is available is a HCM extracts. And remember, this option is only available for HCM. So if you have to extract data from financials or SCM modules, you only have an option to build either a BIP report or an OTBI report to extract the information. You don't have HCM extracts concept at all. But in the case of HCM, along with a BIP and OTBI report, you can also quickly build a HCM extract to extract the information from HCM module and share it with the downstream systems. Okay. And remember, this is also quite easy to build as OTBI reports. Remember, in the case of BIP, you had to go through that pain of building SQL queries, plugging them into a data model, building RTF layout and all that, right? So we had to build close to 2 hours even to build a simple report. But in the case of OTBI, it was quite easy. We have subject areas given by Oracle, and all we had to do was drag and drop the component or drag and drop the attributes and build the report, right? We followed a drag and drop approach. And similarly, in the HCM extracts also, you follow the drag and drop approach. You have SQL queries again written by Oracle, but those SQL queries are not exposed as subject areas as we have in OTBI. Instead, they are exposed as something called as user entities. So what Oracle did is it has written SQL queries for most of the common entities in HCM. Like for person, we have one entity. For assignment, we have one entity. For job, we have one entity. So depending on the entity that you have to extract the information from, a data entity, yes, you have user entity, which is nothing but an SQL query that Oracle has written for you in the background. All you need to do is create an extract, pick up that user entity, select the attributes that you want to include as part of extract. Okay, SQL queries written by Oracle. And what you do was you will upload the output that is generated by HCM extract onto UCM. Remember, how do you access HCM extracts? You first have to log into Fusion Cloud application. I'm logging into ESEU. So the password of this instance has changed. Pick up the latest password from here. If you go to Fusion Cloud links, so this is the latest password of ESEU instance. So, okay, so pick this one up. Let me also put it in chat. I don't think you'll be able to copy it, even if I put it in chat. Yes, log in as HCM implementation user. And to look at the data exchange options into HCM Cloud, you need to go into My Client Groups. And if you scroll down, you will see a data exchange option there. You click on the data exchange. And you scroll down, a HCM data loader or a spreadsheet data loader. So you have these two options, right? The HCM data loader and a spreadsheet data loader. These two options would help you to load data into HCM Cloud. And in one of the previous sessions, we've already seen how this works, right? So you prepare a data file and you do a bulk data upload into the application. So this is inbound into HCM, where you load information in bulk into it. But in some use cases, you might have to extract the data from HCM and share it with other applications. What could be the use cases? It could be It could be that your client might not have implemented payroll, and you might have a requirement to run a payroll extract and share that information with maybe a vendor like ADP or someone else. Or your client might have an agreement with a benefit service provider, and that benefit service provider would need the latest employee and their assignment information to determine who is eligible for benefits. You can have many more such use cases wherein, yes, you do have a requirement to extract the information from HCM in a periodical basis or in a periodic basis. And how do you do it? You can quickly do it using a HCM extract. And yes, you're going to extract definition first, you define it, and then you can go ahead and execute it directly from there. And to create a new extract, yes, you have an option to create a new one or import it. Import will be helpful in SIT and UAT when you want to import the extract built in a previous instance. After you build the extract, you do have an option to export it. And when you export extract, an XML file will be generated. All you need to do is pick it up, log into a higher instance, use this import option to import it. Now let's create a new one. Extract definition, give it a name. You say UG2. Well, let me see if you have any extracts that starts with UG2. Yeah, we don't have any extract that starts with UG2. Just go out and come back in again. Create a new one. You call it as UG2 HCM Extract. And as part of this HCM extract, we will also try to do the same thing that we have done in BIP and OTBI so that you understand the exact differences between the components. We'll try to extract the person and their assignment information. So you call it UG2 HCM Extract, give it a start date, leave it as a default, no problem. And you need to select a type for an extract. And you have some seeded types given by Oracle. And depending on the information that you're planning to extract in this one, in the extract, you will select the appropriate type. If you are extracting core HR related information, then you will either select a full profile or a HR archive. If you are extracting something related to payroll, then you would have to use either a payroll interface or other payroll archive. If you are extracting something related to recruitment, you use a recruitment archive option. Okay, so we'll pick up HR archive because we want to extract the HCM related information, right? Core HR related information. And you have this changes only checkbox here. So yes, HCM extracts has a built-in support for incremental extracts. So yes, if you are building an incremental extract, this checkbox would make sense, but for a normal extract, you don't need it. Just uncheck it. Consumer, it says it is mandatory. Just select it as a report. That's fine. And you go ahead and create it. And what is it that we want to do? Yes, we want to build this as a master detail extract. And in the master entity, we want to extract certain attributes from a person. And in the detail section, we want to pull certain assignment related columns. So let's see how to do it. And again, this is quite easy to use when similar to OTBI, and you would absolutely love it. Yes, there would be 3 tabs on a on a HCM extract tab. You define it, design the extract. This is where you select the user entities and the attributes that you want to have as part of your extract. And then you set up deliver options so that the output of the extract will be delivered to UCM. Remember to load in the file into HCM Cloud. When we selected a file from HCM data loader screen, what did it do? HCM data loader has loaded the file uploaded the file to a content server or UCM, right? How do you access it? It's a ERP Cloud instance URL /CS. So if you look at this particular URL, it basically displays the content server. People refer to this with multiple names. Some people call it content server, some call it web center content, some people call it UCM. So whenever you have to load something into cloud, you need to upload it here. And similarly, whenever you extract something from a cloud, you will again upload the file to this particular location, and you will ask the downstream system to come and pick it up from here. Okay, So yes, you set up a delivery option because usually the extracts that we define, right, we schedule them to run on a periodic basis. Okay, so you might schedule it to run once in a week, or you might run, you have options to run it on demand, or you can schedule it as well. But yes, end of the day, the output of this extract is not for humans to consume. It will usually be an XML file, and that needs to be uploaded to UCM. So yes, extract is defined, and depending on the extract type that you pick up here, there would be some default parameters that get added automatically. If you want to have some custom parameters, you can add them here. You can click on the plus icon and add the custom parameters if you want. Okay, in a BIP report that we have built, we had a person number as a parameter, right? In OTBA report, we used we used a department as a parameter. Similarly, if you want to have a custom parameter for this HCM extract, you can add it in here. And now you need to design the extract. So to design the extract, you go into the design tab. And that is where you need to mention, you need to first select a user entity, and then you need to select a record for that. So the first thing that you need to do in HCM extract design is to create a data group first, a root data group. Okay, so you create a root data group first, and under a data group, you create a record. And a HCM extract should have at least one data group, and that is called as a root data group. And yes, it can have multiple data groups. So in this particular case, we intend to build it as a master detail extract, right? So we need to have two data groups, one for person and one for assignment, right? But any extract should have at least one. You give it a name, and yes, we want to extract person's information and their assignments, right? So you say persons, and in the user entity, remember, this is where Oracle has put in quite a bit of effort from its side to make your and my life easy as a HCM consultants. Oracle has written those complex SQL queries. Remember, when we had to figure out which table stores the person and the name's information, we had to go to Google search, find out the table name, identify the joins, identify the column names, etc. Right? You don't need to do all that stuff. Oracle has done that for you. All you have to do is, depending on the entity that you have to extract information from, you select it. And in the user entity, you just have to search for that particular user entity. So you click on user entity dropdown, you search for it. And in the user entity name, remember, user entity would be a short code. And in the user entity name, you need to search for person. And that will show you the user entities that Oracle has exposed for person user entity. And yes, the user entity name ends with underscore UV, indicating that it's a user entity. And it starts with per underscore. Everything in HCM starts with per underscore, all the tables or all the columns. And ext also refers to extract. So per extract, and you have extract name underscore user entity. So you can select this person's per extract, and it's a secure person user entity, right? So you pick up this person's user entity, and once you pick it up, you will be able to pick up or include or pull person related attribute information as part of your HCM extract. So you select the person's user entity, and you can so if it's assignment, what do? You search for assignment related user entity. And if you want to see what is the query that Oracle has written behind this, what you can do is, it's quite easy. You click on advanced, and you can search for that database item, put in the database item name and search for it. It takes approximately 30 seconds and it will print the details of it. You would be able to see, if you go into third tab especially, you would be able to see the query that Oracle has written behind this particular user entity. Okay, let's wait for a moment here. Should not take more than 10 seconds from now. Well, that's okay. Let's cancel this. It should not take that long. Let me just cancel this. So click OK. And you can get into it from a different screen as well. If you go into data exchange, under HCM extracts, you also have something called as view user entity details. You can directly go in there and it will take you to pretty much the same screen. And here you can type in that group name. Maybe you can drop it in here. I'm not sure if it's a database item group name or a user entity name. I think it should be user entity name. Okay, let the search go on. And yes, you select a user entity. And after you select a user entity, yes, there is a query that Oracle has written behind this, right? From that query, yes, in that query, there are attributes pulled by Oracle from a database, and we can create a record under this data group and include attributes from it. And you have a concept of threading database item. This is also helpful when you build an incremental extract, not a normal one. And now you can go into filters tab. And when you go into filters tab, this would help you to apply filters on the extract. So here you selected a person user entity, right? So if you don't apply any filters, then what will happen? All the employee information, all the person's information will be fetched. Remember, when you do a select star from for all people here, it will pull all the employees information, right? And if you want to apply some filters, what do you do in BIP? You write a where clause and you plug in the filter. Similarly, in the case of extract, you have to apply a filter. Okay, so you can go into filters tab. Looks like the screen is stuck. I think we need to close this and come back to it again. Let me try to open it from a different browser. It seems to be stuck. Go into my client group and you go into data exchange. For HCM extracts, you can say, yeah, you can go into extract definition. And if you sort by last saved, we should be able to see our extract. You go into the design tab. Yes, whatever you have saved earlier, yes, it didn't get committed to the database. So you say, yes, you want to extract the person's information. So you go to user entity and let's search for person user entity. So if you want to extract person information, you search for person. Assignment, you search for assignment. You pick up a relevant user entity. And now if you go into filters, this is where you can apply additional filters on top of the persons. So say, for example, if you want to pull only the employees of person type EMP, right? So how do you do it? You can select extract person system person type equal to EMP. And so this way you select the appropriate option in the dropdowns, click on the plus icon that will add a filter criteria. And once it is added, you do have an option to calculate the rows, right? You do have an option to calculate the rows, or if you click on reset or remove last condition, remove last added means it will undo one change. Okay. And if you click on reset, the entire condition or a filter criteria will be wiped out. And yes, you can plug in a simple condition like this, or you can also write complex conditions as well with logical operators. So if you want to have another condition with AND operator, so you can select AND here, and you can add it to the filter criteria. And then you can plug in the second condition that you want to add. So this way, yes, you can, this is like writing a where clause in a BIP. So you are applying this filter on top of a person user entity. And if you want to see whether you've got your filter criteria right or not, you can click on calculate rows. It'll show you the probable number of persons that will be extracted from the system. So it's around 3925 employees per persons. Click OK and click on OK. You can save it. And when you save it, yes, the person data group will be saved as a root data group. And under the data group, you can create a record and select the attributes that you want to pull. And yes, under a data group, add a record. And you can say person details. And what details do we want to pull? And if you go into attributes tab, the plus symbol is not enabled. You save it so that the record gets saved and the plus symbol gets enabled. And you can decide what fields among a person do you want to pull. So you can click on the plus icon, and yes, you can add a variety of components or add a variety of fields to a HCM extract. You can do some calculations. You can hard code a string, or yes, you can use a fast formula as well as part of HCM extract. We'll see this when we do a payroll, how to create a fast formula or how does they work. And you can also use a database item as well on a fast formula. Sorry, you can also use a database item and decode database items as attributes on the extract. And this is what we usually use, a database item. And when you click on database item, it shows you the attributes of a person. You can, and among those attributes, you can pick and choose what attributes you want to include as part of a record. And let's say I'm interested in pulling the person first name. You search for it, add it in, person last name, and you can select a person number. And yeah, you can also do a person hire date. So you can add whatever fields you want as part of the person user entity. So we selected few columns, right? So you go ahead and click on add. Those three attributes that you have selected will be added. So this is like selecting a columns. So here you select a user entity. You can think of it like a query that Oracle has written. And from that query, yes, among the attributes of a person, yes, you can pick and choose few of those attributes by creating a record under it. Okay. And this is how you can build a simple HCM extract. And to make it a bit complex, what we can do is you can add detailed conditions to it. So yes, for this would pull the person details. It will pull the person first name, last name, and their number. And if you also want to include their assignment details, what you can do, you can select the root data in a data group, do a right click, and you can say add child data group. So that would add a child data group to persons, and you can probably call this as assignments. And this time, what user entity you will select? Assignment user entity. And you go into, and yes, you selected assignment related data entity. You go to connect data groups. And when you go into connect data groups, you would notice that, so if you select the person's data group, you only see two tabs in there, a properties and a filters. But in the case of child data group that you are adding, assignments, you would see one additional tab called connect data groups, because remember you are adding a child to this parent, right? So there should be a join condition between assignment and a person data entity. And those join conditions would be added by default into the extract. So yes, if you want to link a person and their assignment record, remember the join condition that we used? We used a person ID as a join condition, right? So you have that person ID join here, person ID from a person equal to a person ID from an assignment table. And along with this join, there are also a couple of join conditions that got added automatically. You can knock them off. These are probably not required. And you can go ahead and save it. And what you can also do is you can apply filters on the assignments as well. So if you want to say pull only, okay, so I think there is a problem with this. I'll just save the record first. Let me just cancel this. See, if I take out the join conditions, I think it's adding those join conditions back again. You won't have this problem if you save the data group first and then delete the records. Let me go ahead and cancel this. Yes, let's go ahead and add the data group again. Add a child data group. And let's call it assignments. And you go ahead and save this. And after you save this, yes, you probably don't need these two join conditions and you can knock them off. The person type ID, we don't need it. A person ID alone would be sufficient to link a person with assignment records, and you also take off the legal entity ID. So you save it. And you can also apply filters. Say, for example, if you want to pull only assignments of a particular type, okay, you can do that as well. You can apply such filters. So say, for example, if you want to yeah, that's okay. We will leave it blank. We will leave this filters blank. But yes, if you want to pull only the full-time assignments, or if you want to pull only the assignments which have an active payroll assigned, you can plug in such filter conditions there if you want. And yes, you added this as a parent data group. This is a child data group that you added under a child data group again. So child data group or a data group is where you select the user entity, and then you add a record under it. And in that record, you will select attributes from that user entity. And you can call it as assignment details. Go to attributes, you save it, and you can pull attributes from assignment. Search for database items. And you can include, or say, assignment name, member, and you can probably include the assignment business unit as well. And you can probably include the assignment department. So whatever fields you want to have from an assignment, you can pull them and include it. Assignment job, right? So you can select and include whatever attributes you need. A full-time, part-time, right? So you click on add, select few attributes from assignment, and after that you go ahead and save it. So what will happen now? First, for when we run this extract now, yes, we pass in effective date. As on what the extract will do, as on that date, the employee person details will be pulled, or which are of type EMP. And for each person, yes, the assignment details will also be pulled. And what details from an assignment record will be pulled? It will be these attributes. So remember, building an extract is much easier than building a BIP, right? All you do is search for user entity, create a record, and pick up the attributes, much like what we have done on a person and assignment record. And all you have to do is save it. And yes, HCM extract, this is not a sort of a report that user will run and a user does not want to see the output for himself, right? In the case of BIP report, since the user is consuming that report, we have to see whether that report is in a PDF or understandable format, right? But in the case of HCM extracts, what we do, we extract the information with an intention to share that information or pass it on to a downstream system, right? In such cases, what we do is we will set up a delivery option such that the XML file, remember, similar to a BIP data model, HCM extract will also generate output in XML format. But XML would be absolutely fine. In fact, it is a preferred format because HCM extracts, their intention is to extract the information and pass it on to the other system. So what we do from a delivery option, we upload the content. We upload the content to this UCM or a web center content. And from here, a third-party system will come into this particular UCM application and it will pick up that XML file with an integration at their end, and it will process that XML file at their end. So when it comes to integrations or exchanging information between the systems through integrations, XML is a preferred format. So you don't need to, that's why you don't need to convert XML into a readable format in the case of HCM extracts. So yes, you need to set up a delivery option. You click on the plus option, give it a name. You can say upload or to UCM. That's a usual option that we do. Yes, you also have an option to email it out or put it in SFTP. But if you have to put it in SFTP, it has to be a public SFTP. Email, yeah, you can use it as a one-off case, but we don't usually use it as a standard delivery option. And this web center content. And this is what we need to use, a web center content, to upload the output of this extract to the UCM. Go ahead and click OK. And what you need to do is in the output file name, under output file name, you give it an output name here, right? So the output would be uploaded with this file name to UCM. So you say UG2 HCM Extract.xml. So after the extract is run, you need to go to UCM and search for a file with this particular name. And yes, you don't need to compress it. And sometimes if the extract that you're generating contains sensitive information, you can encrypt it. Otherwise, it's not required. You say none. And you can give an integration name. Yeah, you can give any name you want here. Yeah, you don't need to select an encryption key. Just go ahead and click on OK. Go ahead and save it. You need to validate the extract after that. And when you validate it, yes, the extract will be validated. And yes, internally, what Oracle will do is for each assignment, for each record that you have in the extract, a fast formula will be created in the backend and it will be compiled. So we'll talk about fast formulas later on when we do a payroll. So let's look at the status. It's compiled successfully. And yes, after it is compiled, if you want to run it, you can directly do it from extract definition screen. You have some usual options here. Delete it or make a copy of this or export the HCM extract. In a similar fashion, you have an option to run it as well or submit it. You submit it and you can give it a run name. You can say UG2 HCM Extract run 1, and you can select an effective date, select today's date, and you can schedule it to run as soon as possible, meaning it will be executed right now. Or if you want this to run once, probably a daily or daily in the morning, you want it to run at 6 o'clock. Yes, you can schedule it that way. So yes, you've got the usual scheduling options that if you want to schedule it to run once or daily or monthly, weekly, etc., you can set up such a schedule first and you can use it. But yes, we want to run it as soon as possible so that we can view the output now. Go ahead and submit it. So this would kick off the HCM extract in the backend. And this HCM extract would extract the persons and their assignment details, generate an XML file, and that XML file would be uploaded to UCM. Okay, you can search with that file name here. And you will also have a content ID generated in the output as well. Refresh it. Could see a HCM extract here. And yes, it would take approximately 1 to 1.5 minute to for this extract to complete. Let's wait for it to complete. And while it is going on, if we go back to this user entity screen, remember we searched for the user entity definition, right? So it tells you how Oracle has created it. This is a name and this is a base name or a short code. And what does it do? It returns the person data based on an effective date for each person type. And remember, we have a pull. We have included only employees of person type EMP. And you see the database items that have been included as part of the user entity. So since you selected this user entity when you created a data group, when we created a record under it, we were able to use all these options like a person, number, person, first name, person, last name, etc. And if you want to see what is the query that Oracle has written in the backend for this particular user entity, you just go into query tab and you will be able to see the detailed query there. You can put it in, you can put it in a text editor. You can see a column, you can see the tables, you can see the joins, and you can also see the tables pulled in a properly formatted manner. So we had to put in all this effort in a BIP report to come up with this query, right? But in the case of HCM Extracts, I don't need to do any of it. I just have to search for a relevant user entity, that too with the help of a name. So if I want person details, I search for person entity. If I need assignment details, I search for assignment entity. And yes, these queries are readily built by Oracle, and you can make use of them in your extract. And if you go into this extracts using user entity, it would show you all the extracts that exist in this application, which uses this user entity in their definition. Okay. If we now go back and wait for the request to complete. And while it is going on, let me answer one of the questions that you have one of you have faced an issue when you are navigating to manage business unit set assignment screen, right? So yes, there are some tasks in FSM, and when you have to navigate to those tasks, you need to set a scope for it. Say, for example, if you go into a setup and maintenance, and if you go into say a workforce deployment, you go into organization structures, and you change it to all tasks. And you see that there are two tasks here, manage business unit and manage business unit set assignment. And this particular task needs a scope to be set. And in a similar fashion, if you go to legal structures, and even in the case of legal structures, there would be some tasks for which a scope needs to be set up, like manage legal entity HCM information, or a legal reporting unit, or a registration, etc. Right? So if you try to navigate to a task which have a scope, yes, you would get an error if you try to do it from a global search. Because if you try to do it from here, say for example, if you try to do it from here, from FSM, you try to get into it, it will force you to select a scope. It will force you to select a scope. Boss, I understand that you want to assign reference data sets to a business unit, but you tell me which business unit you are interested in. So here, if you try to navigate to this task from FSM, you get an option to choose a business unit so that this particular task can show you the set assignment currently done for that BU. But if you try to do it, if you try to do this from a global search, yes, you get an error and it clearly says what you're supposed to do. So if you go to global search and say manage business unit set assignment, if you try to get into this task, since this task needs a scope, it will throw an error now. And what does it say? It clearly says that yes, this particular set or the task that you're going to, a scope was not selected. Return to the task list, use an implementation project to select a scope. This is one way to do it. And what is another way? So it is showing implementation project based options. Another way is to go into FSM and use adopt as you go approach. You go and search for appropriate task. So you go to appropriate offering, workforce deployment, and you go to organization structures. You change it to all tasks, and you can select a scope here. And after that, you can go into that particular task. So for example, if you are interested in US1, so you click on select and add, apply, go and go to task. And you can say US1 business unit. Pick it up, save and tips. Okay, so you see the reference data set assignments done for reference data objects for this BU. Okay, and you go ahead and cancel it. So this is how it works. So is this clear?
Yeah, I'm watching you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Now let's go back and check the extract results. So you know that this particular extract run one is complete. You click on it, and it will show you the complete details. Okay, so you are able to see the information, and you can see how much time it took to complete. It took approximately 2 minutes because we are extracting all the employees. And if you look at the extract delivery options, you would be able to see the file that is uploaded to UCM. You see this file. You can download the file directly from here, but this file contains, yes, you download it. Open it with a Firefox, that's okay. And it is an XML file that is generated. And if you look at the XML file, yes, you have a person set, you have person tags in it. And within each person, what do you see? You see the person details, And after the person details are printed, like the person first name and last name, assignment details are also printed. See, you see for each person, assignment details are also printed. And remember, when it comes to assignment, what usually happens is in the backend, there will be two types of, for every assignment, there will be two records in the assignment record. In the assignment table, one will have a type equal to ET, and one will have a type assignment type equal to E. So if you, when you add an assignment, if you include assignment type, you would have probably seen that the type would be different for these two. So what, as you can also make out from the name here, right? So this is E and this is ET. So yes, this would not be visible from the front end. And when you write an extract, you also need to plug in a filter on the assignment and say include only assignments of type E, not ET. So that way, this particular record will be flushed off and it will not be included in the extract. Yes, for every person, yes, the person details and their latest assignment that they are working on, that details will be printed. Okay, so you look at this person. This particular person is working as a sales representative in a France business unit. And this particular XML file would have been uploaded to UCM. And if you want to see the file, yes, you have content ID stamped here. You copy this and you go back into UCM, go back to homepage. You have an option to search for a file using content ID. And you click on the eye icon, you scroll down, it will show you the XML file that has been uploaded. Yes, whatever information you included as part of your HCM extract, it has been extracted, and it has run the extract, pull the information, generated an XML file, and that XML file is uploaded to UCM here. And what will the downstream system do? It will pick up this file from UCM and it will process it at their end with the help of an integration. And integrations, remember, integrations would love to have the data in XML format. Yes, since we are already generating XML data in XML format, they would be easily consume this information. Okay. So any questions, guys? Okay.
Prashant, is there any chance or any link which we can get the backend tables? I mean, I know the Oracle documentation. Apart from that, any queries or any standard queries which we can use for our reporting?
You're talking about BAP?
Yeah, BAP. Any custom reports if I'm going to generate, it will be handy. Some common queries, assignments, jobs, departments, those kind of a thing.
Oh no, unfortunately no. But this could be one easy option for you to get the query at least from a backend. You just create a dummy extract, use a person, or you don't even have to create an extract. You just have to go into this particular user entity, search for that particular entity, and see what is the query that Oracle has written. So this is one easy way. Another way is you just have to search for it in support.oracle.com. I know it is stuff in ERP Cloud or HCM Cloud.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. In EBS, we don't have all this confusion. In EBS, we could easily get the view, and from that view query, we can easily figure out from which table we are getting that information. But it's not so easy. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Please do practice this and let me know if you run into any issue. Create an extract, try to upload it to UCM and see if it goes through fine. Yeah. Thank you, guys. See you tomorrow.